So every credit card personal finance YouTuber, including myself, likes to make these what's in my wallet videos every few months or so, just showing you guys what credit cards we're using the most in our day-to-day lives. But since there's hundreds of cards on the market and I only have 16 of them, the other day I thought to myself, what would be my ultimate wallet setup if I could only use credit cards that I do not currently have? So that's what we're gonna be talking about here in this video. Now, I'm gonna pick out 5 personal credit cards and 1 business credit card that I feel like I would get the most value from, but do not currently have for one reason or another that I'll explain throughout the video. And I want to challenge any other YouTubers out there that make credit card content to go ahead and do something similar if they want to, because I feel like it's going to be a fresh take on that whole what's in my wallet thing. But let's get right into it here with the very first credit card that I do not currently have and actually was just denied for recently for the second time, and I want to briefly talk about that as well. And that is none other than the Capital One Venture X. Now, the Venture X is easily one of the best credit cards out there, and we've talked about it in much more detail in some other videos that I'll link to down below that you can check out later. So it gets 10x Capital One miles per dollar on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. It gets 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One, plus it gets 2x miles per dollar on all other purchases, which for this video makes this my catch-all card of choice in this setup of credit cards I do not have, because 2x back on everything else is pretty great. Now, of course, there is a $395 annual fee, but it's very easy to make this card worth it in year 1 as well as in year 2 and beyond, because first of all, you get a 75,000 mile sign-up bonus after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months, and 75,000 miles is worth $750 at a minimum for travel through Capital One at a value of 1 cent per point, or really 1 cent per mile in this case. But if we take advantage of many great transfer partners that the Venture X comes with, then we can usually find ways to get between 2 to 3 cents per mile or even more. So that would value those 75K miles at $1,500 to $2,250 or more, which can easily outweigh the $395 annual fee alone for many years. Now, even with a sign-up bonus aside, the annual fee is still very easily offset by 2 benefits on the card, with the first one being a $300 annual travel credit for travel booked through Capital One that you basically just get every year. So most people that'll travel are going to easily use this credit, which brings your effective annual fee down from $395 to just $95 per year. However, starting on your first account anniversary and every year after, you're going to get a 10,000 mile bonus, which again can be valued at 1 cent per mile on the low end, or even much higher than that with the transfer partners. But even on the low end, those 10,000 miles are going to be worth $100. So when you combine that with the $300 travel credit and then compare that to the $395 annual fee, it's basically like Capital One actually pays you $5 per year to have this card. And then you get to take advantage of earning miles in all those other ways like I just talked about, including earning 2x miles on everything. Plus you get access to the new Capital One lounges, priority pass lounges, and you can then use all those other great features and benefits that come loaded on the Venture X. So yeah, I wanted this card, which is why I applied back in late December 2022, but I got denied because I just opened up some other recent cards and I thought I could squeeze this card in late in my credit card journey. And then after reading about what other people were saying about getting denied for the Venture X, it sounded like if I just did not apply for any new cards for 6 months and then tried their pre-approval tool, then I could possibly apply again around the summer of 2023 this year and maybe get approved on my second try. So the other week I did just that. I had 0 new personal credit card accounts over the last 6 months, and I checked the pre-approval tool for all Capital One cards, as well as a new Venture X pre-approval tool that a couple of you guys sent me over to check out, but I was not pre-approved for the Venture X using any one of those tools. Now, I just wanted to see if I still could get approved anyway, so I still went ahead and submitted an application for the Venture X, and despite having a great income, no recent accounts in the past 6 months, and a credit score that was in the high 700s at the moment, I was denied again. So what I think this really shows is that Capital One seems to look at somebody like me with all my active credit card accounts. They probably see somebody that's not very profitable for them, so even though I should be approved, they choose to not approve me. So the takeaway I have from all this stuff here, hopefully that I could pass on to anyone that watches this, is that if you want to get the Venture X, then I would prioritize getting that earlier on in your credit card journey rather than later on like I tried to do. And to be honest, this is not always going to be 100% accurate advice, so as always, your mileage may vary with approval odds for the Venture X. Still, I figured I would pass along this data point here and just try to be transparent with you guys about stuff like this, because it does happen, and after a denial like this with the Venture X, I probably won't get this card myself, so that's why it's in this what's in my wallet of credit cards that I do not have for this video. Now, with all that said here, I still managed to add the Venture X card to my 2-player credit card setup with my fiance Jackie, because as soon as I told her that I got denied again, she was just ready to apply as a backup because she has a lot less credit cards than I do, and sure enough, she was instantly approved. And even though I don't technically have this card right now myself, I could always add myself as an authorized user for free and get a lot of the same benefits benefits she has as the primary card holder. Now, for my second card that I do not have but would include in my wallet for this video, I'm going to finish up the Capital One Duo here and add the Capital One Saver One card, which has no annual fee, but it gets 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and at grocery stores. And that cash back can be easily converted into Capital One miles if I had a card like the Venture X that earns those miles. So that really becomes 3x miles per dollar in those categories. And that's what makes the Capital One Duo really work so well together, because it's 3x in all those places and then 2x on everything else with the Venture X. And that's all for one annual fee of $3.95 on the Venture X alone, which, like I said, is easily offset with a couple of credits and benefits. The Saver One card also has a $200 cashback sign-up bonus that can be converted into 20,000 Capital One miles to get even more value out of those miles. And again, all you gotta do is just take the Venture X card and then transfer out to travel partners to do that. So overall, this is a great card to get a solid 3x back on food categories like dining and groceries, as well as 3x on streaming and some random entertainment expenses, which I could have used this card for the Taylor Swift concert and the Ed Sheeran concert earlier this year in Philly. Now, the reason why I do not have this card right now is just because without a card that earns Capital One miles like the Venture X, this card just becomes a cashback card, and the upside value of turning that cashback into miles just goes away. So because I prefer to be on team travel and not team cashback right now, and because I could not get approved for the Venture X card myself, this is also a card that I just won't get, at least right now. But who knows, maybe Capital One would just deny me for this one too if I did try to get it. However, because Jackie now has the Venture X, she might decide to go ahead and get the Saver One in the near future. She's gonna have to wait because Capital One does have a 6-month rule where they're only gonna apply you for one credit card every 6 months. Right now, Jackie's just been using her Chase Sapphire Preferred to get 3x back on dining and streaming, but she doesn't really have a decent credit card for groceries, so she's just been using a special sign-up bonus of 5x back on groceries with her Freedom Flex card for her first year with that card, which is about to expire soon. So yeah, I don't have the Venture X or the Saver One, which is why I'm gonna put them here in this imaginary wallet setup for this video, but at least Jackie has the potential to get both of these cards, and that's gonna work out pretty well for our two-player strategy as we sort of diversify our credit card points and miles over to Capital One as well, just to give us more options when it comes to redeeming those for travel. Now, next here, I'm gonna add the third credit card that I do not have to this wallet setup, and this is one that I really wish I got early on because I just got too excited about Chase and Amex cards when I got started, and I sort of just skipped over this one. But that card is the Discover It cashback card, which is gonna act as my rotating 5% back flexible credit card in this setup. So for anyone that's unfamiliar, the Discover It cashback card is a very beginner-focused credit card that's pretty easy to get approved for with either the student version or the unsecured version. And this credit card is gonna get 5% cash back in rotating quarterly categories that change up every 3 months, and that covers a number of useful everyday areas of spending, including gas stations and digital wallet purchases right now in the third quarter of 2023. You'll also get 1% cash back on all other purchases, but the best part of this card is that in the first year you have it, Discover is gonna match whatever cash back you earn dollar for dollar. So effectively, those 5% rotating categories, that becomes 10% back, and then 1% on all other purchases, that becomes 2% back for that first year. Now, like I said, I really wish that I got this card early on in my credit card journey because you really can't beat the Discover It in terms of beginner credit cards. There's really no good reason for why I did not get this card way back when I was in college. So I think I was just more interested in the Chase credit cards as I got started here, and I was learning about the whole points and miles thing, so I just really skipped over the Discover It. And maybe I could apply for it now because actually I get something in the mail for it pretty much every other week, but I don't even know if Discover would approve me at this point because now I have so many other active credit cards. But also right now, the opportunity cost at this point in my credit card journey is sort of too high for me to get this card. That's because there's just other more travel focused credit cards with much higher sign-up bonuses that are more worth it for me to go for. But if I could only choose cards that I do not have for this wallet setup here in this video, I would want something that's very versatile and can earn 5% back in many different ways throughout the year. So yeah, this is definitely a credit card that I had to include here. Now, that's 3 personal credit cards that are covering a lot of my major spending categories here, with me getting 3x back on things like dining, entertainment, streaming, and groceries with the Saver One, 2x back on everything else with the Venture X, along with 10x on hotels and car rentals, plus 5x on flights booked through Capital One with that card. And then I've also got the Discover It card getting me 5% back in the form of cash back to sort of fill in the gaps in my setup with its rotating categories. But next year, I want to add a business credit card that I do not have yet, and for that, I'm going to add the Chase Inc. Business Preferred. Now, this is a business credit card that I've pretty much just ignored for the past few years because of one main reason, and that main reason is the minimum spend to get the sign-up bonus, because the sign-up bonus for this card used to be that you get 100,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points after spending $15,000 in your first 3 months. And honestly, right now, it's just way too much for me to spend in such a short period of time, even with all my combined business and personal spending. However, Chase just recently announced a brand new offer on the Ink Preferred card where you can get the same exact 100,000 point bonus, but now it only takes a minimum spend of $8,000 in the same 3-month period to get that. So that is definitely more reasonable, especially for me with my business. And given the fact that I actually have some larger expenses coming up, I know that I would easily be able to hit that minimum spend and get all those valuable Chase points with pretty low effort. Now, this card also gets 3x points per dollar in a few useful business related categories like shipping, advertising, internet, cable, and phone, as well as travel. And because that travel category is pretty broad when it comes to what Chase says counts as travel, and because I'm actually starting to fly around more and more for my business, I think this would be a great card for me to have in my wallet. Also, since I already do have the $95 Chase Sapphire Preferred, and I cannot have that card in my wallet for the purposes of this video, and because the Sapphire Preferred gives me access to Chase transfer partners, which includes Hyatt that I use a lot, the cool thing here about the Ink Preferred is that it can replace that card and also give me access to the same exact transfer partners where I could easily turn those 100,000 Chase points from that sign-up bonus into $2,000 to $3,000 of value with Hyatt, or even potentially more depending on what deals I'm able to find with award flights and hotel stays by transferring points. So for all those reasons, I gotta include the Chase Ink Preferred in my wallet setup as a business credit card. And pretty soon, I think I actually am going to apply for the Ink Preferred because I'm gonna be back under the Chase 524 rule in another 2 months or so. So I would love to take advantage of that big sign-up bonus. Now, next year, I'm gonna be adding my 4th personal credit card to this wallet setup that I do not have right now, but would definitely find good value from. And that is the Citi Premier card, which currently has a sign-up bonus going on of 60,000 Citi thank you points after spending $4,000 in 3 months. But this card also gets 3x points per dollar on restaurants, supermarkets, gas stations, air travel, and hotels. So lots of great high spend categories for earning a lot of points. Now I'm already getting 3x back for restaurants and for supermarkets with the Capital One Saver One card we talked about before, but I would use this Premier card here mostly as my go-to gas card for getting 3x back on gas. And I could also use it to get 3x back on air travel and hotels if I need to book something outside of the Capital One portal, where I would normally get 5x back on flights and 10x back on hotels with Adventure X. It all really depends on the prices that I'm seeing when I need to book something as to whether it makes sense to book through a travel portal or not. But one thing to note here is that if I do book any travel with the Citi Premier card, I will not get any travel insurance protections that most other travel credit cards offer because the Premier card no longer offers those. And I talked about that in more detail in another video for the Citi Trifecta that I'm gonna link to down below if you wanna check that out after watching this. So really, I'd be getting this Citi Premier card mostly for the sign-up bonus and the 3x back on gas. And if after a year or two I decided that I no longer wanted to pay the $95 annual fee, then I could always downgrade it to the no annual fee Citi Double Cash card, which I also do not currently have. So that downgrade path is gonna be valid for the purposes of this video here. The main reason I do not have the Citi Premier card right now is just because typically I use either the Amex Platinum card or my Chase Sapphire Preferred or a few other credit cards to take care of any travel purchases. That's because those cards earn really well, but also come with great travel protections that I like to have in a credit card. So again, for the fun purposes of this video here, where I'm trying to get max value out of all the cards that I do not have yet, the Citi Premier card is an easy choice and an easy way to get some good value. Now, as I was thinking about what 5th card I would add to my wallet that I do not have already, I would probably want something that would maximize the value that I get back from a spending category with one specific retailer that I shop from all the time, and so do most other people. So that card would be the Amazon Prime Rewards Visa Signature card, which has no annual fee to me because I've been an Amazon Prime customer since my days back in school at Penn State. Now, this card would get me a $100 Amazon gift card instantly upon approval, which is pretty cool because there's no minimum spend to get that bonus. But the main reason I want this card is because it gets 5% back on Amazon purchases. And like I said, I'm always shopping at Amazon, so I know that it would fit in nicely to my wallet setup and basically give me a nice little cash discount on pretty much everything I buy from there. And even though it's not earning points and miles for travel, that cash back and those cash savings are tough to beat and can go right back into my travel fund along with any other cash back that I earn from my Discover It card. And then all the points and miles that I'm earning from any other credit card in the setup that I mentioned throughout this video, that can be redeemed for the flights and hotels for any of my upcoming trips. Now, like I said, this was just a fun video with a hypothetical situation where I could only choose credit cards that I do not already have. But if you do want to see what really is in my wallet or what my full 2-player credit card strategy is right now, then make sure you go ahead and check out either one of these 2 videos on the screen right now to learn more. But as always, thank you so much for watching.